Today on New Dice, I very much want to talk about something I think that Wizards of the Coast has done extremely well for new GMs and something you need to grab onto and run with if you are learning how to get into the world of GMing and you want to start just getting better at it. They provided you with something great, and I want to celebrate it today. At the end of today's episode, we will put a bow on last week's episode. We'll read a couple comments from last week, and we will see how people reacted to the conversation about GM screens. There are some great comments. As always, comments welcome. Go down below. Just, hit the comment button below. I love reading them. I love building my brain power in the world of GMs when there are people who come in here who are veteran DMs. I love hearing from you. And then, of course, from new DMs who are working through this with me. It's fun to bounce things off of each other. I really appreciate it. Okay, today I want to talk about adventures at the table. So I'm on week 6. I think I just had the 6th session of my first ever campaign. It happens to be an at-home campaign, which I'm really, really enjoying. We're having a ton of fun. And I have been, the last few sessions, we went through sort of a mini dungeon crawl. It was very, very enjoyable. And it came from one of the things I want to talk about. And there are a lot of different options for this. I'm going to focus on Wizards of the Coast because they are the Dungeons and Dragons official books. And so I know if you're like me, I started by D&D-ing it up. And I started in the world of D&D. And now I've expanded. And I've got a lot of different things that I like. I'm very interested in Dragonbane. Land of Eam is a system I'm very into. I've got the Daggerheart book, and that's something that I'm interested in. So I'm into a lot of things, but I think D&D is home base, right? And for me, anyways, starting off DMing, I'm like, I want to do the one that started it all for me, Dungeons and Dragons. And I really love the game Dungeons and Dragons. So I want to focus on this one for you all. And you can take things from it regardless of what system you're going to run with. But I want to focus on D&D because they've released some products for 5.5e that I think are great. And I want to bring up to you. Now, let's just get this out of the way right off the bat. This would be like the 5.5e. This is kind of their adventure book as of right now. This is Dragon Delves. I know that the Eberron Forge of the Artificer has some kind of adventure stuff in it. I haven't looked through that one all the way yet. I really want to get that Eberron 5e book. I don't have it. It's something that I really want to get at some point in my life. I hear it's awesome. And that the 5.5 book is sort of a supplement to that book. But I don't have the big book. So I'm kind of not talking about that one, even though it has some adventure design in it. Very jealous of those of you who have that old Eberron book. Okay, but Dragon Delves. This is classic, right? This is classic what you've seen in for those of you who saw a bunch of 5e stuff. This is just classic adventures, right? You get 10 adventures in this book, and every adventure has the text you read. There's dungeons. It's multiple pages long per adventure. I'm trying to get it in frame here. And like I said, it's got the stuff you're supposed to read out loud and a bunch of stuff with that. This is very much an adventure book like you've seen in a lot of different old school, like Curse of Strahd and stuff like that, and Icewind Dale. Great books. They give you everything you need. But I want to focus on something else today because I think there's 2 other products that have been released by Wizards of the Coast, and then they lead me to stuff that has been released by the TTRPG community. I think they're so valuable. And I wanted to bring these up because I am on a lot of forums. I've watched a lot of videos, and there's a lot of people that I really enjoy as content creators. I enjoy, but they hate Wizards of the Coast. They hate them. So any product they release, they just crap on, and it's just automatic. So I want to come in here from this angle. I'm new to GMing. I don't have this built-up frustration with Wizards of the Coast. It's not like I'm a slave to them or it's all that I believe in, but I enjoy their stuff. And I went through, and the things that were getting ripped on by others, I ran them. I actually ran them at the table. And I want to celebrate them a little bit. And I'm going to start with this book right here. This is the Dungeon Master's Guide, the new one. And when you're going through, there's a lot of stuff in this book. A lot of stuff I have found very valuable for a new GM. But I want to go to, this is going to sound, for those of you who are church people from the 80s and 90s, open up your hymnal to page 100. I think it's page 122, and it's in chapter 4, Creating Adventures. They have got in the Dungeon Master's Guide something I think is extremely valuable. They're these right here. They're half-page adventure examples, okay? This one right here, The Winged God. Let's focus on this one real quickly. This half page, that's all it is, right there. You go, oh man, I'm new to this. Sean, I'm new to this. That's not enough info. Well, let's see what you get, right? You get a situation on this. A few weeks ago, a red dragon wormling drove a band of kobolds out of their warren to claim the place of its lair. Claim that place as its lair. Easy for me to read. Now, some of the kobolds are causing trouble in the Cairn Hills. They're raiding merchants, hoping the dragon will allow them to return home as its loyal servants. Okay, so you've got a story there. It's not a lot of stuff, but it's enough. The hook, what the hook gonna be? A merchant named Nandi Bardux hires the characters to escort his wagon to the remote mining village of Diamond Lake, which happens to be near the dragon's new lair. Nandi was robbed by the kobolds on his last trip. So here you go. You got your hook. You're at the tavern. Your characters are there. They're approached by Nandi. He needs some people to help him get his goods from point A to point B. Very easy. He got robbed last time. Help me out, adventurers. You're my only hope. Okay, so you've got in just like a little tiny bit, you've got enough to work with to start this adventure off. Then it's got at the bottom your encounters for your session. You go, Sean, it's not enough. Look at the Dragon Delves book. Look at Curse of Strahd. There's so many things. There's not a lot here. The first encounter at Kobold Bandits. Along the road, the wagon is surrounded by 8 kobold warriors who demand that the merchant surrender his goods. All right, so you've got 8 warriors. You've got something tangible. New GMs, I struggle with encounter building. They've built it for you. And you battle these guys. And it's cool because it gives you the option, just in this little paragraph. When there's 4 left, 4 or less left, they flee. They try to run away. Your characters can go try to kill them. They can let them run away. They can pursue them, follow them. They can choose. That's a cool little thing to add in there that you might not have thought of, new DMs like me. All right, then it gives you a couple options. Again, this is half a page. A couple options. If your characters do not follow them, they let the kobolds run away. Later on in their adventure, they're approached by 12 kobold warriors, 6 winged kobolds, and any of the kobolds that were running away. Okay, this is another cool encounter, but they're not coming to fight. This is going to show you how to run. This is going to put you in a position to run a RP negotiation encounter because they're going to try to convince you to help them take on the dragon. They're going to try to convince you to help take on the dragon. We need help. They're going to throw stuff at you to get you to go with them. And hopefully your characters go with them. If not, you continue on your way and you get to your destination. The kobold camp, if the adventurers follow the kobolds that run away. Or if you are maybe continuing on and you run into the camp. You're going to get the same kind of thing. You get the same amount of kobolds that I just mentioned above, and you've got like this built in there. And then the last encounter is Dragon's Lair. There are a bunch of magazines, a bunch of maps at the end of this book, and it says use the volcanic caves in Appendix B for the Dragon Lair. So it's got a map back there, and it goes, okay, here's a map. You can use this. And then it says, cut off these portions of the map. You don't need all that. And it shows you, here's an encounter at the beginning of the dragon's cave, and then here's the dragon encounter. And all of that is half a page. Now you say, Sean, that's not enough. But it is, because they've given you the skeleton of an adventure. And instead of just feeding you a whole adventure, an adventure that I absolutely love is a most potent brew. I preach this every time I talk to someone who's new at DMing. A most potent brew. I think I got it on the DMs Guild. It's cheap, and it's everything, word for word. Here's step A, step B, step C, room A, room B, room C, so on and so forth. Everything you need. It is all fleshed out, and you can work through it. And as a new GM, it's kind of nice to have that big of a crutch. But for something like this, there's a little bit of a crutch, but you are forced to fill in a ton. Skeleton provided. You make the meat, and it is a really cool exercise in getting better at GMing. Another book that I could not speak highly enough about, and I would actually say this would be a starting point more than the Dungeon Master's Guide, but the Dungeon Master's Guide you might already have. This Forgotten Realms Adventures in Faerûn book, the Dungeon Master expansion, holy smokes. This is the one. I'll start. The last 2 weeks of my session, I think it's page 88 in your hymnal. Page 88. Nope, I was incorrect. Page 86. The Tomb of Damara. Look at this. One page. This took us 2 sessions to get through. It provides you with a map. It provides you with a lot of encounters. It provides you with what you get. It gives you some stuff to be a combat encounter, a RP encounter. Like I said, it took us 2 weeks to do, and not every room is keyed. So it's kind of fun because getting better at DMing. They give you a lot of the rooms and say, look, bare bones, here is the dungeon. Here you go. There's a few rooms that do not have anything labeled. It's fun. You get to go through and go, okay, can I do this? Can I write part of this adventure? And you can. And it is, I understand the value of an Icewind Dale, a Curse of Strahd, these adventure books that are awesome, and I'm dying to run one at some point. But for somebody who's trying to get better at this, something like that, a 1-page adventure there that has encounters that work for a specific level, loot that works for a specific level. They take that off your plate and give you some idea, some space to maneuver in between. Man, it is highly recommended to improve your GMing skills. So, and this is like, just to make you understand, it's not just a Wizards of the Coast thing for those of you who already, your skin is crawling because you hate them. Those books are great. I like I said, I very much recommend the Forgotten Realms Adventure and Faerun book, but this like led me to then going to just Googling 1-page adventures. And there's a ton of them. And you can go to people who have made these 1-page adventures, made books of them. Okay. There's onepageadventure.com has a book of these 67-page PDF of 1-page adventures. If you go to the not DM's Guild, what's the other one? Drive Through RPG. There's a ton of these. People, you can support creators this way and just look up 1-page adventures. And I would recommend finding ones that are not fully fleshed out, that have a lot of open-ended parts that you have to fill in. Boy, it is a cool feeling to run one of these. I just can't recommend it enough. So new DM to new DMs, check these out, try them out. You will thank me. You will have a blast with them. Best of luck. Okay, let's put a bow on and stop knocking everything that Wizards of the Coast makes. You may hate them. That's a really fun if a new DM grabs that and they're hearing that it's just getting ripped on, they're like, I don't want to do anything out of that. That can't be right. Man, you're cutting off new people to the hobby at the knees. You're just cutting them off at the knees. Let them enjoy this awesome hobby. Okay, enough of that. Let's cherry pick some comments from last episode. All right, let's cherry pick some comments from last episode, which was about DM screens. This one, it comes from Allurian80. Allurian says, I started with a DM screen 100% of the time and considered them essential. Hiding my secret notes and monster stats, or the lack of them as I was improvising. The extra space to hang stuff is handy for me and the table. It's also useful to enforce the separation between player and GM. For rules disputes, it's behind the screen that has final say. I now use them about 50% of the time for all the reasons you mentioned, and because it does take space, so for small tables, it's totally fine to drop it, and it makes more space for the battle map. Truer words have never been spoken. Thank you, Allurian. What did Reading Aid have to say? Reading Aid said, I love GM screens as well. The games I've run have been online, and I've used them every time. Much more convenient than having a bunch of PDFs open on your screen. For sure. Preach. I like that. They're great. It's nice to have those little things to look at that you don't have to think about. You don't have to remember. They're just there, easily accessible while your brain is trying to run everything else it does when you're DMing. Reading Aid went on to say, because I was asking everyone what their first personal favorite DM screen is, and Reading Aid said their favorite is the Dolmenwood one. Best rules and essential info per square inch I've ever seen. Worst one, now this may be surprising, but Shadowdark screen, useless. However, they are releasing a new one soon to replace it, and one specifically for the Western Reaches sandbox from the last Kickstarter. I'm very intrigued in Shadowdark. I'm really intrigued in Dolmenwood. I really want to get my hands on the Dolmenwood stuff and try it out. I think it seems spectacular. Spectacular. I haven't, though, so I can't give you official opinions on it, but I think Dolmenwood looks awesome. Zarian13 says, I will use a screen as a reference if it has good tables and info on them. I do not use them as an actual screen, though, because I don't like how it separates me from the players and how it hides me physically. I roll in the open because dice fudging is my TTRPG pet peeve. Fudging dice is disingenuous, destroys trust, and eliminates player agency. I also like using body language when portraying NPCs, so having more of me visible is a bonus. Whenever I read the word body language, I think of Ursula from Little Mermaid. Don't underestimate the power of the body language, and see what a real YouTube person would do is they would have edited that clip in at that moment, but you're stuck with me right now, and so I just had to say it. And that's the difference of being young and being old. I love that, Zarian. I think that's super important. Something to think about is the fact that you're hiding behind the screen. If you are someone like me, like Zarian, who uses their body, sits straight up for an NPC, hunches over for a different one, uses your hands to talk. That DM screen can block a lot of that, and it takes away from what the players can notice from you. I'm also with Zarian. It's apparently they're my favorite commenter today. Maybe it's just me. Was it just me commenting under a fake name? It's my burner. Zarian13 is my burner YouTube account. The fact they said the dice fudging, I have been rolling in front of the table the last 4 sessions, and I'll never go back. At least I don't think I'll go back. It is so much fun. It is really interesting watching the players get excited for my rolls. You can tell the people I've played with have been at tables where the dice rolls are getting fudged. And when this is happening, the way strategy works in combat has been great. And I'll say things like, I'll roll on the first attack with someone. I'm like, look, it's a +4 to hit. And Mirror Brain may be like, but that's the nerdy part of the game. To keep the pluses a secret. But my brain says this, like I'm going to say that guy's a +4 to hit. And all I'm doing is, if you're in real life and you see somebody and you're like, do I want to fight them? And as we're all prone to do, as we all want to do, you look at someone, you can tell how intimidating they are. You can probably tell how hard they're going to hit you or how much it's going to hurt. That's just the knowledge, hey, they're a +3 to hit. That's just you being an adventurer, being aware of, like, that person probably hits pretty hard, or that person has pretty likely to hit me. And so you get that, and that's, it's me letting the players look through their own character's eyes, and that knowing what the pluses for everyone's attacks is just them being adventurers who have been out and about and seen people fighting before and know how to read that on an enemy. All right. Thank you for those who commented. It means so much to me. People who comment, who like, subscribe, tell someone about the channel. Will we ever have a monster community that I know I don't get to read comments? I really hope not. I love the comments. Read every one of them. I love them all. All right. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great week. And I hope that you get to take some of these things, new DMs, run with them, and you report back that everything was awesome.